YouTube, starting us up on Rumble. We are live on Rumble. Good afternoon, hello, and welcome to Weekly Recap AKA W.W.R. This is a dive into the weird, bizarre, off the wall, and seldomly talked, if ever, news stories. You know, everybody's always talking about hot button issues, politics, what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Eastern Europe. We cover the strange, you know, because we are the strange. So
are you going to headline it?
Maybe. Like, you know.
Strange for strange.
Yeah. Today is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturn's Day.
Wow.
May 31st, 2025. I am Aoxander, and who am I joined with?
Golden Loon.
And good old 72 in the live studio audience. Not sure if he wants to introduce himself or anything.
My mic's muted for the most part.
Okay. Speaking of 72, he's the one who found this article, actually. It says, raindrops in the sun's corona, new adaptive optics shows stunning details of our star's atmosphere.
What the heck does that mean?
Well, let's read this. Scientists from the U.S. National Science Foundation, Double Nationals, Solar Observatory, and New Jersey Institute of Technology produced the finest images of the sun's corona to date. To make these high-resolution images in movies, the team developed a new coronal adaptive optics system that removes blur from images caused by the Earth's atmosphere. The groundbreaking results were recently published in Nature Astronomy and paved the way for deeper insight into coronal heating, solar eruptions, and space weather, and opened an opportunity for new discoveries in the sun's atmosphere.
Just for okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Just for solar flares, that's huge.
Yeah.
So you can study those more.
So it says here, the sun's corona, the outermost layer of its atmosphere, visible only during a total solar eclipse. So that's what you see,
that edge.
You know, around, like the halo thing, that's the corona.
Yeah.
Has long intrigued scientists due to extreme temperatures, violent eruptions, and large prominences. However, turbulence in the Earth's atmosphere has caused image blur and hindered observations of the corona. Groundbreaking recent development by scientists from the U.S. National Science Foundation, NSF, National. So there's supposed to be commas. So this is basically a repeat of what I read earlier. Funded by the NSF and installed at the 1.6 meter Good Solar Telescope (GST), operated by NJIT's Center for Solar Terrestrial Research (CSTR), and at Big Bear Solar Observatory (BBSO) in California. Kona, the adaptive optics system responsible for these new images, compensates for the blur caused by air turbulence in the Earth's atmosphere, similar to the bumpy air passengers feel. Similar to the bumps air passengers feel during a flight. So, and here we actually have a video. So let me full screen this. And this is what the surface of the sun looks like. And
isn't that wild?
Yeah, and like, you know, you see
that
that.
Is incredible. That is really incredible.
That's just like floating out of magnetic, you know, something or other, nuclear eruptions.
I don't think it's just floating. It's, you know.
Well, it's detached.
Yeah, it is, but all of it is kind of just popping, isn't it? I don't know how much is actually attached.
It's a giant ball of gas, you know.
I mean, we shoot flares into the air all the time, and then they dissipate as they head out.
That's not a solar flare. That's just
I'm not saying
something
that is.
on the surface of the like something to do with magnetics, I presume, like is why it's floating there.
And you know, they say that the sun, if you get close to it, is deafening loud.
Yes.
Extremely loud.
Well, isn't it like the sun's screaming? You know, like they've had they've had like audio recordings of what the sun sounds like. You know what? Let's look this up on YouTube actually. What
of course,
the
you couldn't
sun
get close enough to hear anything and vaporize you.
Yeah. True. Well, I mean, you won't. It's not really like it's not like making sound the way that we know it, because our audio comes from atmosphere. There's no atmosphere in space. It's like radio waves and electromagnetic, but like it's not. There's no sound in space.
If you put a human up there, then it could receive the sound, and it would be sound.
Yeah, there's like one atom per every cubic meter in space, so you technically could hear, but it'd be like being underwater to the extreme.
Okay. Oh, thanks for that input.
All right. We have here. Let's see if we can get to what it sounds like.
Into a few seconds. This is what you get.
That is not what the sun sounds like.
I don't think so.
What the sounds? I think these are just memes. So we're not gonna actually get any actual audio of the sun. That's unfortunate. Why do people have to meme the hell out of
my
everything?
next question would be then: do they have audio of the sun?
They do.
Sounds. Okay.
I've heard it.
Okay.
I was just trying to find it, and I
Yeah,
just had to
okay.
stumble across a stupid video. Anyway, let's move on up here from Oddity Central. Paraglider nearly freezes to death after being sucked up 28,000 feet in the clouds. Whoa.
Oh my God.
A seasoned paraglider miraculously survived a rare and dangerous phenomenon that saw him being sucked up into the clouds to an altitude of 28,210 feet or 8,600 meters. Photos and videos of Chinese paraglider Liu Gu trying to keep his cool, pun intended. Hey, I like this writer. I'm gonna have to talk with him. As he experienced dangerously low levels of oxygen and temperatures as low as
next question.
negative 40 degrees Celsius or negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, went viral on social media this week. In them, the experienced paraglider's clothes and face are covered with ice, and he struggles to breathe and keep from passing out because of the low oxygen. On May 24th, Liu Gi took off from about 3,000 meters in the Qilan Mountains on the border between western Gansu and northeastern Qinghai. But as he was paragliding, a cumulonimbus cloud appeared behind him and he ended up being lifted higher and higher above the clouds. So here's let me bigger this if I can. Here's a photo of him, just covered in ice.
Whoa.
And here's other photos, and just look at him, like.
My guess would be that the lack of oxygen, how thin it is, would get you first. If you went much higher.
Well, it depends on how fast you're going. You know, like if you go up there and the temperatures drop and you freeze over, then.
Well, obviously you would die much quicker with the lack of oxygen as opposed to freezing to death. But I don't know what elevation you'd be at where you just don't have enough oxygen.
Well, he was getting there.
He's got to be close.
Yeah, he's getting there because it said that he was struggling to breathe.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think his altitude was that of Everest. I think Everest is 28,000 feet or around there.
No kidding.
I believe you are right. Let me look that up here, actually. Height of Everest. Where is it? Why won't you tell me right off the bat what the height is? Elevation.
Yeah, 29,000.
Yeah, 29,000 feet. So he was just under it.
Real close.
That's terrifying. But there's a video actually here. Oh, hold on a second. Let me open this on YouTube and get a bigger version of this. So I believe this is his ascent, because this is before he got all frozen. Oh wow! And then there's another video here, and you can see he's very frozen. That's wow. Can you imagine? Like,
Yeah. That's
nightmarish.
That's a tough go.
What else we got here? From Oddity Central as well. Tor Alva, the world's tallest 3D printed building. Huh. So we're finally doing that. Towering above the rooftops of Mulligens, a picturesque village in the Swiss Alps, the recently unveiled Tor Alva, a white tower, is the world's tallest 3D printed building. Mulligens, a tiny village of only 12 permanent residents nestled at the foot of the Swiss Alps, hardly seems like the perfect place to install the world's tallest 3D printed building, but local authorities decided that the unique installation could help revitalize the slowly fading community. Tor Alva stands 30 meters high and has a modular design featuring a total of 32 individually printed columns connected by giant screws and steel cables rather than glued with cement. No steel frame was used when printing the tower's pieces, but its creators claim that the technological innovations showcased by the tower make it both extremely safe and easy to dismantle and move if necessary. So here's like a faraway photo of it. It almost looks like that, just the way all the other buildings look, it almost looks like a model town.
Yeah.
You know, it just has that look. You know, it doesn't look normal. But here we have all the different pieces. They 3D printed it in segments. And here, you can see there's a staircase in there. That's a big structure.
Yeah, it's huge.
But that's all just 3D printed.
Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome. There's a video here, too. So, actually, let me get it up on YouTube. Oh,
they're unveiling it right
yeah.
there. Ah, that's cool. Look at that.
I mean, even that looked like, you know, like you're taking it from a model. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's really incredible. I love that. Wow.
was that a helicopter with it? Like, it's just flying away. That's awesome.
It may have been. Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. What else do we got here? Texas doctor gets 10 years in prison for diagnosing and helping people with chronic conditions. Wow. It sounds like some kind of insurance scam or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a customer for life then.
Yeah. You know, well, like, as it said, like, you know, whenever you see commercials for Crest, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste. Why would they recommend you something that will actually put them out of a job? You know, think. Like, they'll recommend something that will get you back in that chair. Like, they want that money. So, a Texas rheumatologist was sentenced to 10 years in prison for a cruel health care fraud scheme that involved diagnosing hundreds of healthy people with chronic diseases that required expensive and dangerous treatments. Wow. Now, this is just evil. This guy should be executed. Jorge Zamora Quezada, MD of Mission, Texas, pled guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud, several counts of healthcare fraud, and conspiracy to obstruct justice, and received a sentence of 10 years behind bars and 3 years of supervised release. For years, a 68-year-old rheumatologist falsely diagnosed patients with chronic illnesses to bill for tests and treatments that they didn't need for his own enrichment. Evidence presented by prosecutors showed that his fraud scheme involved over $118 million in false claims and the payment of over $28 million by insurers, which allowed him to fund an incredibly lavish lifestyle. By profiting off of innocent victims, Zamora Quezada was able to amass a sizable fortune, including 13 real estate properties, a jet, and a Maserati Gran Turismo. Wow. Wow.
There's got to be other people in on that, because you can't just say, oh, you need surgery, and then send them off to surgery and have a surgeon perform a surgery somebody doesn't need.
Yeah.
That's for
There's
sure.
Yeah.
got to be dozens of other people in on that scam.
Like, the amount of checks and balances in the healthcare field is quite daunting, and so you're right, it would be nigh impossible for one person to be able to pull something like this.
And you know, the immediate answer for the patient is always get a second opinion.
Yes.
When have you ever gotten a second opinion? I've never have. You know,
I have, because I had a doctor tell me to. My doctor told me to stop taking insulin. My life depends on insulin.
Woo! And he told you to stop?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he has all sorts of screwed up stories, man. Like,
wow. That's crazy.
You know, like, this is why I don't try, and I have, you know, like, you can say I have gone and gotten second opinions on various things.
You have. I haven't. I wasn't really.
Well, you're right. Most normal people, you know, don't. They're just like one and done, because who has the time? You know, you have a job, you have a life, you have a family to feed, you have kids, or whatever it is. If, you know, there's so much stuff to do in life, who has time to go out and get a second opinion for, you know, it might be a waste of time.
And
So
I have
Well, it's also-
good fortune of being blessed with super good health.
Yes.
Except for 2024.
yeah,
That's the outlier year, I hope.
that was a rough year. What were you gonna say? 72?
You also have, I can't remember the name of the effect, but it's like when a professional tells you something, like they don't even have, like you can just wear a suit like a construction worker, and if you tell somebody, hey, the road's closed, they're going to go around, even if you're not actually a construction worker, you know?
Yeah,
So if a
yeah,
doctor
it's that-
tells you
true.
something, they're wearing the hat that says I'm a doctor, so you just believe them.
It's that condition of, you know, blindly following authority figures or perceived authority figures, which is why stolen valor is such a massive issue, kind of, sort of, in the same vein, you know? Not like that they're
That's
authority
horrible,
figures,
though.
but
that doctor is horrible.
yeah. Moving on up, you want to speak about horrible, and oh, jeez, what I want to do to these people, I can't even say on camera. Squatters install alarm system to protect house they are illegally occupying. Are you kidding me? So you're gonna go in there and just take over a house that doesn't belong to you?
And
And
very
then-
hard getting them out.
Yeah, and then they're not, now you have the money to invest in getting a security system. Why not get a freaking down payment? Get your own
Because
shit.
if you're gone on
You
an
know?
extended vacation and the house is left empty, they will move in as an abandoned house.
Yes.
And you're going to work like crazy to get them out.
Yes.
And everything backs the people up that are in there.
Now,
It's a nightmare.
now here's something interesting. I don't remember what state it was, but like, and I'm pretty sure this has happened, you know, more often now since this story broke. But I remember some squatters moved into a residence owned by some lady. Now, like, it wasn't her house, but she owned it. and like she wanted to rent it out or whatever, but she couldn't get them out and all that stuff. So her son, I think it was a collaborative effort between her and her son or whatever, but her son ended up being the tenant and was able to kick them out because the tenant has rights, the landlord does not in a squatter situation wherever they were, whatever state law or wherever they were. And it really played out because he was able to get them out, change the locks, and story's done, you know, and that's great. But like, it really depends on what your law is, what your state law, municipal law, whatever.
Well, state's going to be the key.
Yeah. Well, are there some areas that have laws, you know, specific to counties or cities that are different than states, but because
a good example of that is sanctuary cities.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of that, did you hear? I forgot. 72 probably knows, but we now have the first national park city in this country. There's now only like 3 of them in the world, and so like now the whole city. Yeah, let me
incorporated it.
Yes, let me look this up here. National Park City. I think it's like Nashville, Tennessee, or something. National Park City, Chattanooga. There we go.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah. I was right in the state at least. So, Chattanooga, Tennessee has been recognized as North America's first ever national park city following a comprehensive peer review process coordinated by the National Park City Foundation with support from Salzburg Global and World Urban Banks. So, so you know what a national park is, right? Like, you know, you can't go in there, you can't build, you can't do anything.
Right.
Now the whole city is locked in time. You can't change anything. You can't build. You can't. Now you need permits. You need, you know, to go through bureaucracy to do anything in that city. Plant a tree. It's a national park. You need a permit.
Pretty sure that means you can't shoot a bird.
The national park rules are going to supersede. It's a national law. They're going to supersede the city, so you're not going to be able to build in there if the national park says no.
That's
building.
the point. Yeah. Because there's this whole conspiracy that's happening to feed, you know, now, you know, like I'm going in conspiracy realm here, folks, so, you know, bear with me. But, like, you know, we've all heard about, like, the underground tunnels and all the connections and all that stuff. With a national park city, now people, unless they're criminals and for whatever reason they dig a hole, you won't dig down and find what they're doing down there. You know, that's a theory. So
theory.
Well, that's why I'm saying theory. But like as it's been said for the past 5 years, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 6 months. So anyway, let's move on up here. A group of squatters who illegally took over a house on the outskirts of a village in Spain's Burgos province has installed an alarm system to prevent others from breaking into their illegally occupied home. How dare you steal what I rightfully took?
Yeah.
You know, what the hell? The people of San Miguel de Pedroso, a neighborhood village in the city of Beldorado, are on high alert because of squatters who not only took over an unoccupied house in their community, but also installed an alarm system there to prevent others from breaking in like they did. According to some local residents, quote, they have placed a sign belonging to the company that installed the alarm in the building, end quote, to prevent what happened to the owner of that house from happening to them. Some locals suspect that the squatters have been eyeing the property for some time, and after learning that no one had lived there for about 2 decades, they decided to move in. Now people are afraid that their houses could be at risk of being illegally occupied by strangers. Yeah. Well, we gotta just stop giving squatters rights, because they shouldn't have rights. You know, get your own stuff. Work your own ass off.
My question is, why do squatters in Spain have rights? Why does Spain have squatters' rights? Like, America has it because of the Old West.
Explain.
Back in the olden days, somebody would be living on a prairie and then they would die of like disease or Indians or something, and so there was just abandoned property. So anybody could come by and claim that property as squatters' rights. That's literally the only reason why they exist.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, like this gets me fuming here. You know, so let's move on up. What else do we got? Belgium accused of literally stealing the wind of its neighbor. Oh, God. The CEO of a Dutch weather forecaster recently suggested that Belgian wind farms are inadvertently stealing wind from his own country's wind farms in the North Sea. Here we go. The wind wars. In an interview with Belgian broadcaster VRT, Remco Vergilabjaba, the CEO of Dutch weather forecasting service Wiffle, claim that Belgian wind farms in the North Sea have an advantage over Dutch ones because of their placement, adding that they are effectively stealing Dutch wind. Verzi G. Burr claimed that Belgian wind farms are taking up to 3% of wind energy from Dutch substations, or from Dutch installations, adding that wind speeds measured behind a wind turbine are measurably lower. He clarified that the phenomenon is purely accidental because of the location of the wind turbines, pleading for better coordination between countries in the near future. So yeah, I knew this would happen eventually, like, because, like, we've driven past these wind farms every time we go to Vegas and all that stuff. But, like, you see them one after another. Like, eventually, like, the one in the back is just not getting any wind at all. So.
Well, no, they usually stagger them out so they can have that.
Yeah. But, like, I mean,
because what it's doing is breaking down the direction of the wind, and it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It alters the direction of the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is going to slow it down. That's why because I'm going, all wind is a high pressure, one pressure going to another pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see what breaks it up and slows it down a little bit, so they lose 1 or 2%.
Also, conservation of energy. It's like that wind is energy, and you're taking that energy and harvesting it in the wind turbines, and therefore the wind does not have as much energy as it's going past it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is actually more harmful to the environment than what they think they're saving, because they're like literally killing the wind.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
They're slowing it down a tad. They're not killing it, but
well, I mean, like, they're slowing
your
it
point
down.
is well taken. Yes.
And I mean, like, wasn't the Amazon rainforest built by the desert? The sands of the Sahara being blown over the Atlantic. Bringing all those nutrients over or something.
Yep.
I am not aware of that at all.
What did you say, 72?
I said yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. What else do we got here? Woman catches husband cheating with the help of electric toothbrush. I wonder how this is going to unravel. Yeah. Do a DNA test or something? Like, a UK woman started suspecting her husband of cheating after checking the data on her electric toothbrush companion app and noticing that they were brushing at odd times of the day. Paul Jones, a British private investigator with over a decade of experience, recently recounted one of his most unusual cases. Catching a cheating partner in the act is rare, but rarer still is catching them cheating with the help of an electric toothbrush. And yes, it can happen. One of Jones's clients, a married mother of 2, was trying to improve her children's brushing habits by monitoring their electric toothbrush via a smartphone app. Noticed that the brush was being used at strange times of the day when her kids were supposed to be at school and her husband at work. Oh no, I know where this is going. After making sure her kids were indeed at school, she confronted her husband, who claimed to have been away at work all day. Quote, over time, the client noticed their partner's brushing history was being logged at odd times that when they were supposedly at work, Jones said. At first, it didn't seem like much. Brushing late in the morning on Fridays didn't raise immediate flags, end quote. So essentially, it sounds like whoever he was cheating on her with was in the home and brushing her teeth with the kids' toothbrushes, or with his toothbrush, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, or
like,
he himself or she herself is brushing her teeth when they're supposed to be at work.
Yeah.
So what are you doing there?
Yeah. That is interesting. Routed out by a toothbrush, of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But hey, like...
Oh, if a toothbrush should only talk.
Yeah.
The AI overlords are already taking over. They know everything.
Now, speaking of AI overlords and stuff, 72, I know you know of the movie Real Steel.
Somewhat, yes.
Well,
Familiar with the Chinese robots.
Yeah, well, here's some real steel. Chinese company holds world's first humanoid robot fighting competition. It's here. It is now here. What was science fiction is now science reality. Chinese robotics company Unitree showcased the fighting capabilities of its G1 robot model in what was advertised as the world's first ever humanoid robot fighting competition. Remember Real Steel, the 2011 sci-fi flick starring Hugh Jackman as a struggling Xboxer turned robot fighting coach? It was set in the near future. Who would have thought that we would really have robot fighting competitions just over a decade later? I really wish these people would just write an article. Just last week, Unitree Robotics, a robotics company based in China's Zhejiang province, held a unique kickboxing competition to show the capabilities of its G1 robot. Standing at only 130 centimeters or 4 foot 3 inches tall and weighing 35 kilograms or 77 pounds, the G1 is a small, lightweight robot capable of smooth, fluid movements and displaying impressive balance and recovery ability. And what better way to showcase these features than having a G1 robots go at it as part of the world's first ever robot fighting competition? And, just look at that stance. It almost looks like people in costumes.
Yeah.
But here, a video. Ready? Here, let me bring it up on YouTube.
Ready, go.
But look at that. I was watching a video, I think it was Ninjas Are Butterflies, just the other day. They were talking about only 5 years ago, Boston Dynamics and whatnot. And look at that. They're hugging. They're doing irregulation moves.
Yeah.
And the ref had to break him up. And he went down. But
he tried kickboxing. He's not programmed to kickbox.
yeah.
It didn't work.
But, just 5 years ago, we had those things that were, really janky, and it's look what's coming. And
Well, know the prelude to the whole thing was a toy called Rock'em Sock'em something. You don't remember that?
Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, you each had a handle.
Yeah. And then you try to knock the block off and
It was a piece of caca. Broke real quick.
Well, I think a more applicable thing would be, what was that robot deathmatch thing? They're in the octagon and they have you remember we got little models of them, those fighting robots. They had all sorts of different styles and weapons.
No, I don't remember.
Robot gladiators or whatever they're called.
I just don't remember half the junk you had.
Well, no, it was a show on TV.
Okay.
It was on the Sci-Fi Network. It was a regular show. It was hold on a second, robots.
Battlebots or something. That thing where they were in the arena. Most of them were wheeled around things. They try to flip each other over.
Yes.
I remember the name.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
These
things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but here we go. Look at this. Now we have bipedal stuff. So it looks like BattleBots has already been doing this bipedal thing. They have anchors. It looks like. So this actually looks like what you're saying, a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
Yeah.
But now it's real. So, how wild. What else do we got here? Australian woman completes 7,079 pull-ups in 24 hours. Whoa. That's impressive.
It is.
Olivia Wilson, at the age of 34, told Guinness World Records she was looking for a challenge when her husband and coach suggested she attempt a record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours for females. Quote, I was looking for a bigger challenge and my husband and coach actually suggested 24 hours of pull-ups, which I initially quite literally laughed at because I thought there was no way, Vincent recalled. I looked up what the current record was, which was 4,081, and again I thought there was no way, end quote. Vincent said it was only after she crunched the numbers on the previous records, which was set by Polish woman Paula Garlow in 2021, that she started to reconsider. Vincent trained for 3 months before her first attempt, which ended prematurely. Quote, I got about 12 hours in and pulled a bicep tendon in my left arm, which meant at that point I couldn't even do a single pull-up, end quote, Vincent said. But she got back up on the horse. And if you want to read more of the article and any other articles we read,
That's
please.
a lot. So she did 7,000?
7,079, yeah.
And the old record was 4-something. Wow.
4,081. So
she's coming close to doubling it.
She just under added 3,000.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
Yeah.
I can't do that,
I couldn't do that in a year.
I could do that in a lifetime.
Yeah. More from UPI. This one's weird. Madame Tussauds, we all know about Madame Tussauds.
Okay, yeah.
London unveils a wax sculpture of a Greggs sausage roll. A food item.
And what is that?
This.
I hope it's a food item.
Oh, God.
You got that right.
Famed wax museum Madame Tussauds London unveiled its latest recreation of one of Britain's most beloved icons, a sausage roll from bakery chain Greggs. The museum showcased a Greggs sausage roll wax sculpture. You try to pronounce it. Come on, I challenge you. Say it. Greggs sausage roll wax sculpture.
No, you got it.
Greggs sausage roll wax.
See? In the run-up to National Sausage Roll Day, which falls on June 5th, quote, for a limited time only, step up, hurry up, hurry up. The beloved British classic has secured a top spot in our Baker Street attraction culture capital zone alongside the likes of Sir David Attenborough, Stormzy, and William Shakespeare, end quote, Madame Tussauds said in a news release. So, let's see if I can get a... Do they have a picture of it or something? Like, let me click this. Oh, here we go. It's a video. So I guess, yeah, so here's just...
Really serious about it.
Well, yeah. I guess that's
Well,
making...
Trousseau.
Tussauds.
So,
And they got the golden brown, and it looks like a real sausage roll.
I'm just not...
Wow, they even added the crumbs. That's attention to
I like
detail.
that.
Yeah. What are you going to say?
I don't know. I've forgotten already.
More from UPI. Stowaway pigeons cause chaos in passenger cabin on Delta plane. Oh, God, just what we need. We had snakes on the plane, and we had, like...
Mike Tyson on a plane.
Mike Tyson on the plane. What happened with Mike Tyson on the plane? Did he punch somebody again?
No, pigeons. Mike Tyson loves pigeons.
Oh, I get it now. He had a cartoon show, and he had a sidekick pigeon.
Oh, yeah.
He went around and solved mysteries. It was basically Scooby-Doo, but modern. So,
With a pigeon?
well, yeah.
The pigeon helped solve the...
Well, like, he wasn't originally a pigeon. He just got turned into a pigeon by voodoo or something. It was a weird show. It was about Mike Tyson.
Like
so,
without him, too.
yeah, I didn't watch it that often either. Pigeon pandemonium erupted on the Delta flight from Minnesota to Wisconsin when two birds took flight in the passenger cabin. Tom Caw, really? Caw? Like, Tom, Caw. Caw! Caw! A passenger...
The pigeons go who?
A passenger aboard Delta Flight 2348 from Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport to Dane County Regional Airport in Madison, Wisconsin, said the first pigeon flew through the passenger cabin during preparations for takeoff on Saturday. The bird was removed by baggage handlers, but a second pigeon came out of hiding once the plane left the terminal. Quote, it was on the floor, strutting down the aisle. Somebody near me reached down to try and grab it, and that's when the chaos happened, because the bird just launched into flight, end quote. Caw recorded the moment a passenger nearly captured the pigeon with his jacket. The plane returned to the terminal, and the pigeon was taken outside by the same baggage handlers who caught the first avian. Wow, so that's... I wish they had... they have the video right here.
So a couple of unusual...
Actually, let me YouTube it here.
Suspected passengers disrupt a flight out of MSP.
A passenger says after they boarded their flight, was spotted while the plane was taxiing to the runway, and they shared this video with us that was posted on Instagram of that second bird
Oh
being
my
caught.
God.
Wow!
The plane had to return to the gate to let the pigeon off. The pigeon says they guessed the pigeons were tired of flying and
Wanted snacks.
they wanted snacks.
Did he catch them?
Yeah. I mean,
Poor bird.
yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I mean, flying today really is for the birds, though, right?
Quick, move on.
Daredevil backflips on fire to break Guinness World Record.
Fire.
Yeah. Oh.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, a British daredevil broke a Guinness World Record when he performed 7 backflips in 30 seconds while on fire. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about this when David Rush decides to tackle this. It's inevitable with him. Ryan Looney, 28, a daredevil with multiple Guinness World Record titles to his name, donned protective gear and was fully engulfed in flames for his acrobatic feat. Quote, I was freezing, Looney told Guinness World Records. I'm wearing a couple of layers underneath that are soaked in a gel and put in the fridge for 24 hours to help protect me from the fire. It was extremely cold, end quote. Let's just watch this.
My name is Ryan Linney, and I am currently...
Okay. Let's fast forward. Here we go.
Essentially, at this point, all I'm concentrating on is moving, getting the backflip done, straight on to the next one.
Wow.
So 7
He's
seconds
taking a
in,
long
I've
time
done
between
turning up
jumps.
around me. If I
Maybe
don't
he
keep
has to get his
moving, I
balance or
could
something.
find it very
Well,
difficult
he
to
said,
breathe.
he was saying it was very cold, so maybe he's, walking to keep his core temperature up while being on fire.
To keep the fire out of your face.
That too, yeah. You don't want it to, spread, and so that is a good point. What else do we got
His
here?
face isn't protected, so if
Yeah.
he stops moving, it'll burn his face off.
Yeah. And you do want an opening here because you need to breathe. So,
Well,
yeah. More from UPI. Soybean powder spill covers New York highway in protein. Huh. As here, police in New York warned drivers to avoid a stretch of highway after a tractor-trailer covered the roadway in soybean powder. The West Seneca Police Department said on social media that officers responded Tuesday to the scene of the biggest protein spill bust in WSPD history. The department explained that a tractor-trailer had lost its load of protein powder in the roadway. Police joked that the first officer on the scene has a milk truck and a giant shaker bottle on the way. Well, all right. Wisconsin deputies use lasso and construction vehicle to nab a loose pig. That's interesting.
Lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheriff's deputies in Wisconsin engaged in a brief hoof pursuit with an escaped pig that ended with the porcine perpetrator being lassoed and reeled in using heavy machinery. They have a video here, so here they come with a bobcat. Let me fast forward to see what it is that they're doing. Oh, I think that they just use a lasso and they pull it into the bucket or something.
Well, once they lasso, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're getting it probably into the bucket to like just carry it or something. That's weird. Like, do you tranquilize it now that it's subdued? Oh no, they're lifting it up. Oh, that's how they did it. They just tie the lasso rope in it, so now it can't move. Okay.
So would that be a wild boar? I don't think so.
So she's tied off right here.
No,
Let's
I believe
see.
that's a pig.
Let's see here. They arrived at a farmer attempting to corral a pig that had fled from its home, so it wasn't
Yeah.
domesticated.
The wild boars are just mean. as
Oh
all get
man,
out.
and smart.
Yeah.
I almost got attacked by a wild boar while in the YMCA camping out in Catalina.
Catalina, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it rummaging out of the tent, and man, I was so scared. Swimmer circumnavigates Martha's Vineyard for shark conservation. Huh. An endurance swimmer spent 12 days swimming 59 miles around Martha's Vineyard, the filming location of the classic movie Jaws, to raise awareness for shark conservation. Interesting, I didn't realize that Jaws was filmed over there.
I didn't either.
Yeah. And Martha's Vineyard is a little notorious for other reasons these days. So,
For what? You mean?
well, like, busing all a certain people out.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want the riffraff here.
I thought you were going to say President Obama's home.
Well, that too. So, British South African swimmer Lewis Poog became the first swimmer to circumnavigate the Massachusetts island when he completed his swim on Monday. The swimmer chose Martha's Vineyard for his swim on the 50th anniversary of Jaws to push back against the common perception of sharks as undersea monsters. Well, they are. The only reason why we're not attacked by them so much is because we're not in their natural habitat. If you put people in the deeper waters, they will get attacked a lot more than how many people die by cow attacks, believe me. So we don't know because we're not in their normal home. So yeah, sharks are monsters. Saying sharks aren't monsters is the same.
Not monsters.
Well, all predators are monsters.
It's like people saying that they'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man. Well, it's because you never encounter a bear in the woods, so nobody ever gets attacked by them.
At risk of looking like a common TikToker, I have to point up at that, what you just said. Moving on up, record-breaking team reunites in Idaho to pass a baseball. Well, what is this? A pair of serial Guinness World Record breakers reunited in Idaho to capture the title for the most behind-the-back baseball catches in 1 minute. David Rush, who holds the most concurrent Guinness World Record titles, reunited with his former neighbor Jonathan Hollywood Hannon in Boise. The two men had been neighbors and record-breaking partners for several years before Hannon moved to Michigan. The pair took time during their reunion to take on the title for the most behind-the-back baseball catches in 1 minute, which stood at 30. The men successfully took the record with 39 catches in 1 minute. And that's awesome, they're record-breaking buddies, and then they got reunited. They broke another record, that is epic, man.
I don't see the Rush though, lighting himself on fire.
I don't know. I think you're rushing to a conclusion with that. So, and last but not least, Captive-bred axolotls thrive in Mexican wetlands, researchers find. Fans of the iconic axolotl could see the critically endangered species stage a comeback in its native Mexico City as researchers announced their findings that captive-bred axolotls can survive in the wild. That's really unusual, because usually when something is captive, it's domesticated. It doesn't survive that well in the wild. It doesn't know. But this one is saying it's the opposite for this specific creature. Researchers at the Autonomous University of Baja California this week said that they tracked a total of 18 captive-bred axolotls, 9 male and 9 female, which were released across 2 aquatic locations in southern Mexico City in 2017 and 2018. Quote, what we learned, go away pop-up, what we learned is if we can reintroduce these axolotls that have been in captivity to the restored wetland where the water conditions are ideal for the axolotls, they can survive, in quotes, said Alejandro Ramos. More quotes. This is pretty big news because when you have animals in captivity, they have a lot of they lose a lot of their behaviors. Like they don't know how to recognize a predator, they don't know how to catch prey, and so we were a bit nervous when we released them because we didn't know if they were going to be able to survive. In quotes. But the charmingly cartoonish salamanders, also known as Mexican walking fish, didn't just survive in their new wild homes; they thrived. Quote, the ones that we've recaptured, they had gained weight, so that means they were doing really, really well, end quote. So that's cool.
That is cool. I don't understand, though, because Mexico City is way farther south than Baja is.
Well, there's a facility in Baja, and then they released them down in Mexico City.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
I believe they were first discovered by the Aztecs around what is now Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're mentioning before the show, isn't that the name of like a Mesoamerican god?
I believe so.
Like they named this after that, right? Like Axolotl?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's close to one. Kind of like how the that other dinosaur is named after the Mexican god Quetzalcoatl.
Oh, yeah. Well, that shall be it. Unless anybody has anything else to say, like anything interesting of this past week, news-wise?
No, not really. But that was a good show. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that shall be it for Weird Weekly Recap for this week. Please check the underbar of the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. And all the articles that we talked about, including the sources, are all down there already. For all of you and all of us, I'm Mayo Xander.
Golden Loon.
I'm 72.
Yep. And you, viewer, thank you so much for watching. And until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Yeah, hold on a second. Where's the button here?
Yeah.
Where's the button? We're still live. Hold on a second. Trying to find the button. There we go. The other button is over here.